Okay, so the mind energy is doing whatever it's doing as we sit, as we come into meditation. Mind energy, the way I'm just describing it today, is the very heart of the mind energy is what am I going to do next? What am I going to do the very next moment? So there's the energy of the mind right now, which is trying to figure out or is telling you what to do next. And we don't need to figure out the actual answer to the question, what it's doing. We just want to pay attention to that energy. Okay, I'm meditating. I'm going to meditate. Okay, wait, I'm supposed to do something in meditation. If you've done meditated a lot, then you might have a habit of what you're supposed to do. If you haven't meditated, you're probably waiting. Okay, I'm going to listen to this person, this guide. But maybe your mind energy isn't even on the meditation. It's just like, oh, I got to do meditation, but I'm really worried about X. Or I got to get comfortable. I'm giving you the sort of the story of what the mind's saying, but I want you to use those stories to find the energy of it. Like what is your, and don't think too woo-woo about energy if that bothers you. Just the feeling in your body and being of what you're thinking about, what you're aiming towards, what you're trying to do. It's actually a pretty advanced meditation. Because if you follow this all the way to the center, then you're really looking directly at your idea of yourself. But you don't have to go all the way into just sort of getting a general feel of who are you right now? What do you, what's your project right this second? It could be a very short-term project, like trying to get comfortable, or it could be a long-term project, like I have to fix myself. I have to get this suffering to go away. And we want to look at this with love. This is what's here right now. So we want to love it. We want to have affection for it and just allow it to be the way it is. We're not trying to stop it. So just allow that mind energy to be there and allow that energy, like feel it all the way through your body. Wherever you feel it, be awake to it and allow it to be. So you're sort of awake to what's going on in your head, but also wherever your desires are coming from, wherever your intentions are coming from, wherever your general sense of well-being or lack of well-being is coming from in your body. Just notice how it changes. Notice how what I'm calling the mind energy is changing, is fluid. There may be at the core of it this sense of yourself that feels stable, but around it you go from okay, now I'm getting frustrated, or now I'm feeling a little more relaxed, or okay. So in meditation, we talk about concentration. One way of thinking of that is gathering your attention. We're sort of gathering our attention. So it's what tends to bounce around, and we're going to gather it in, and we're going to focus it in. So we're going to take that mind energy that we're feeling right now. It has its own direction and everything, and it might be moving this way or that way, and it might be a little off, going off one direction for a second and then going off another direction for a second. And we're accepting that energy, and now we're going to use our awareness of it to just focus it in, to gather it together, as if we're bringing it all into one channel, and we're going to focus down on our breath in our belly. But you see, we're gathering in. It's not a hard energy, this concentration. It's a collecting together. It's a sweeping up of all your energy, all your attentional energy, all your mind energy, and we're just going to focus it in into the general belly region. We don't have to get it too tight. It's like we're sweeping up a bunch of stuffed animals and we're going to put them in the toy basket. And the toy basket's going to be our belly, right? So we're And so we feel the belly. I want you to feel it just for a second here. Just really feel what the belly feels like. Feel it coming in and out with the breath, if you can notice that. Feel the pressure. Feel whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, whether it's numb or whether it's hot or cold. Or just notice, is it hard to stay focused on the belly? Is the mind energy now pulling you in? Is it focused in on the belly, or is it sort of getting bouncing around? Is it getting dragged other directions? How does this mind energy feel now as we've started to gather it? To remember that mindfulness is about observing what is, and one of the main things that is for all human beings every moment is their sense of self, their sense of what they're doing, this thing I'm calling mind energy today. That's always there, and if we want to be mindful, we have to be aware of how that feels. What's that? What is it like to have the mind energy you have right now? Remember, we're going to practice equanimity. So, whatever mind energy we have, even if it's a very dissatisfied mind energy, we're going to practice just seeing it as it is, which will develop an equanimity with our own mind, with our own attitude, with our own energy. And so, we keep gathering it now into the belly. And so, we're sort of noticing two things now. We're noticing the mind energy in order to gather it into the experience of the belly. So our attention is starting to focus down into the belly and into the breath. We'll just call it breath. So what is it like if you can keep your mind energy on the breath from the beginning to the end of the in-breath and from the beginning to the end of the out-breath? Let's do that for 5 or 6 breaths, really trying to see if can I experience the breath all the way from the beginning to the end. want you to notice anything pleasant or pleasurable in the experience of the breath, or anything calm or peaceful, comforting. Notice that when we breathe out, there's a intrinsic physical relaxation that happens. Just notice the release of certain muscles when we breathe out. And the belly will drop if you're breathing into your belly in a normal, uh, in a kind of healthy abdominal breathing. But it's okay if that's not happening today, but just notice even the slightest bit of relaxation. And there's some intrinsic pleasure on breathing in. We're getting a nutrient, so the body likes it. It's pretty subtle because we do it all day long. But imagine being really thirsty and drinking, or being really hungry and eating. When you breathe in, you need oxygen in your body. There's some little pleasure. Can you feel that in your belly, or maybe in your heart or lungs? And then just bring your attention back to the belly. And once again, check in with the mind energy itself as it is focusing in on the belly. If you want to get really self-inquiry about this, you can sort of say, who is focusing on the belly? Who is feeling the breath right now? So it requires you to feel the breath to ask that question. So first you got to feel the breath. And then who is feeling the breath? And not a question for the mind to answer. This is about feeling the mind energy that is feeling the breath, that is meditating. So again, we're going to gather this energy together, gather our attention together, gather our mind together, and now we're just sort of packing it tighter, like it's almost like we're gathering the snow together to make a snowball. Right now, we're just sort of getting a big pile of snow, and it's all in the breath in the belly. There's the gathering energy, which we can tune into, and then there is what we're gathering. So we're gathering this attention. And just notice, is this changing the temperature of this region of your body? Is it causing any vibration or flow? Maybe the breath is getting longer and deeper. We're not controlling it, but as we really just let it do what it wants and bring our attention to it, it might relax a little deeper. So again, we feel the breath in the abdomen. And we notice that we are noticing the breath in the abdomen. So we're sort of aware of the abdomen and we're aware that we're aware of it. And we're going to gather the energy even more tightly. So now we're going to focus in on the belly just below the belly button, a couple finger widths below the belly button. And as we gather this attention into a narrower and narrower focus, it starts to allow us to go deeper into the experience. You're feeling more and more of the this region. We're just focused in now on the dantian, which is this area right below the belly button. And we're now allowing ourselves to sort of focus right in on this region. Small circle of little sphere of energy that we're focused in on. What does it feel like right there? And maybe even allow yourself to, as if you're burrowing in, go into the belly, like another 2 inches inside your body, really feeling right there. What does the breath feel like as it moves through that area? Anything pleasant, anything relaxing. Now, we're all going to be at different degrees of this, but as we've gathered our attention, it's getting more still. It's not bouncing around as much. And there is some calmness and relaxation in that fact. And the fact that when our attention gets still, our body starts to get calm. So we want to be gentle here and not too restrictive. We're focusing in on the center of our energy is right below the belly button, a couple inches inside the body. But that's the center. Can you sort of feel the boundaries of that experience? Is it more on the right, on the left? Does it spread out around the belly, or can you have an experience of a very small portion of that? What does it feel like on the left, the right, the top, the bottom? What does it feel like inside, all the way inside this, the hara, it's called in some traditions. This is a location of a chakra in some traditions. Now, right here is one of the deepest senses of safety can be found right here. If we, you don't have to chase it, you don't have to force it, but when we can get really still and sit right in this location, there's a lot of strength and a lot of stability, a lot of grounding. And so maybe you get a taste of that, maybe you don't. You just keep gathering your attention. And once again, you can always ask, who is gathering their attention? Who is meditating? What is my mind energy like right now? What is it like to focus on the dantian? When you get distracted, that just means your mind energy has gone into another path, right? It's sort of moved off, it's gotten ungathered. It's like your mind is a pile of kittens, right? And every now and then one runs off. And how are we with kittens? We're just gently bring it back into the pile. So when we breathe in, there's sort of an energy that starts to build up in the region we're focusing on. When we breathe out, there's a relaxation downward. And actually, the dantian is in what's called the central channel of the body. So it goes right through the top of the skull, all the way down through the brain and the throat and the heart, but in the body, all the way down central channel, and it drops. When we breathe out, the energy goes all the way down from the crown of our head all the way through the dantian and down, down, down. And so we can focus on the dantian and we can feel that downward draw of our energy when we breathe out. We sort of have to gather enough attention into the dantian, into the spot below the belly button. And when it really settles, then you might feel it drop. You might feel the release down into either the sacrum, which is the flat bone at the bottom of your spine, or down into the perineum. And that's where the central channel goes, right down into the perineum. And it's like a release, just draining into the ground through the bottom of your body, or draining out into the air through the sacrum. And all we're doing is focusing on the breath. All these weird words I'm saying is we're just focusing on the breath in the belly. Anything that's confusing, you just go back and go, can I feel the breath as I breathe in and as I breathe out? Again, we start to get more gentle, but there's just the little things we're checking in on. Have we gathered our attention and can we feel the breath? It's the primary one. But do we notice if the attention gets distracted? And we just gently gather it back in. And we ask, what's our mind energy like right now? And all the questions we asked at the beginning still apply. Mind energy might be more quiet. It might be more subtle answer to that question. At a certain point, the mind energy sort of disappears or it merges with whatever we're observing, with just the world that we're experiencing. It's probably not happening today, but you might be moving in that direction. The quieting of the effort, the quieting of the doing, the quieting of the judging. And so even when we get distracted, when the kitten runs off, or maybe, it's fewer and fewer kittens who are just going off, it's a gentler distraction, or it's a more isolated one. And you might get dragged off on a trail for a while, and the kitten's gotten all the way to the kitchen, but you you go grab it and you gather it back in. And we notice again, isn't there any pleasantness in this experience? Is there any pleasure? Is there any calmness? Is there any good feeling? And it's okay if there's feelings that are not that, but just always touch in. Can I and notice the experience, the part of me that's enjoying this? So check in again. Who am I? Am I trying to figure things out? Am I trying to analyze? Am I trying to control? Am I judging myself? Am I judging my experience? Am I judging my pleasure? Is my mind energy warm and welcoming now? Is it wide? Is it narrow? Who is meditating? What is she like? What is he like? What are they like, this meditator right now? And we're gonna finish up here, but it's like there are two ends of a string. One end is what we're focused on, the lower belly, and the other end is the meditator, the one that's doing it, that's making sure the end of the string gets to the breath. But eventually we start to see that's an illusion, right? These two ends get closer and closer and closer together until there is only the experience, or all the mind energy is in the observation. Okay. And then we're going to come out of our sit. We open our eyes, move our body how we want to. And I want you to let go, intentionally let go of the breath, let go of attending to the breath, and just become aware of where your mind energy goes now. And I want you to let yourself move your body and open your eyes intuitively. How does your body want to move? When do your eyes want to open? And then when they do open, where do they want to look? And you just sort of let that happen and you just pay attention to your mind energy. Where does it go? And it's not a question of what it's actually thinking. It's just watching and experiencing the feeling of having that kind of mind energy. And notice how different it is, or not different it is from the beginning of the day. So who is it now coming out of meditation? Who am I coming out of meditation? And see your world and feel your body and go on with your day.